Hi everyone, I'm James. I'm the Customer Success Manager at ResourceSpace, and I wanted to give you an overview of the new features in ResourceSpace 9.3. There's a lot of new functionality in this release, so I'm going to cover the main points, but there are details about everything that's included on our website, and I'll explain where you can find this a little later on. In this video, I'm going to cover selecting and editing multiple resources without using a collection, resource locking to stop multiple users working on resources at the same time, our new license management system, updating metadata values using a CSV file, multilingual Google Vision, searching according to the access level of a resource, and finally some aesthetic improvements we've made too. I'm going to start with selecting and editing multiple resources without using a collection. I can start by running any search or viewing any collection and then selecting the resources I want to edit using these checkboxes. I can move between pages and carry on selecting resources too. If I want to select multiple resources without selecting each one individually, I can select the first one, hold down the Shift key, select the last one, and the system will select them all. You'll notice these two buttons have appeared here. I can use Clear Selection to do just that, or I can use Edit Selected to make changes to the resources. I can make changes to the metadata, the access level, and status. I can manage related resources here too. For this example, just to show you, I'm going to change the title. Once I've finished, I just need to click Save and the changes will be applied. You can also use the Actions drop-down here to quickly and easily download just the resources you've selected. Resource locking has been designed so that users can check out resources they're working on so that another user doesn't try to make changes at the same time. A resource that's been locked can't have its metadata changed, it can't be deleted, and it can't be replaced. Alternative files can't be managed when a resource is locked either. A user must have edit access in order to lock a resource, but administrators can disable resource locking in the user group permissions. You can lock a resource just by clicking Lock in Resource Tools here. You can unlock it in the same way, like this. Locked resources will appear like this to other users. Users can see who's locked the resource by clicking on the information icon to the right of the padlock. License management has been overhauled to allow centrally managed licenses linked to multiple resources. It supports batch operations too, so you can attach or detach large numbers of resources to or from a particular license. When your system is upgraded to 9.3, the License Manager plugin will be activated by default. You'll notice on each resource there's an area where I can add a new license. I just need to scroll down past the metadata on the resource view page and click New License. Then I can fill in the details and click Save. You can see that license is now associated with that resource here. If I click to edit the license, you'll also notice the resource ID of the linked resources are listed here. You can manually add in other resource IDs in this field to link them as well. There's now the functionality to see all your licenses in one place. You just need to click into your admin menu and select Manage Licenses. You can edit specific licenses here and delete ones you don't need anymore. If you have a lot of licenses, you can use the search function here to find the ones you want. You can also link one license to several resources. I've got 2 resources in my collection here, and I can use the Actions drop-down to select Link License. I can choose the license I want from the list and click Save. I can make any changes I want to the license, and you'll see the resource IDs of the linked resources appear here. Once I click Save, that license is now linked to those two resources in my collection. I can unlink licenses too by following the same process, but this time I'm going to click Unlink License. You'll see here the resource IDs have disappeared, and I can just click Save and the license won't be linked to those resources anymore. Our CSV Upload plugin has always given you the option to create new resources en masse with associated metadata. We've developed it further in 9.3, and now you can edit the metadata of existing resources using a CSV as well. I need to start by running a search or selecting a collection of resources. Here I'm going to select this collection and use the Actions drop-down to do a CSV export of the metadata. For this example, I'm going to include data from all accessible fields, then click Download. Now I can add or change values. I'm going to add some new values to the campaign metadata field. Once I've made these changes, I can click on the CSV upload link in the header here. This will be displayed provided the plugin is enabled. Here I can choose the file I've just been making changes to and select that I'd like to update existing resources rather than create new ones, then click Next. If the resources are in a specific collection, I can select here that I only want to update those. The next option here is where I need to select the column that contains the resource type. If this isn't changing, and it probably won't be, just set it to Select. This next option is where I need to set the column in the CSV that contains the resource identifier. This will usually be the resource ID or file name. And here I need to select whether I want the system to match on that resource ID or a metadata field value. If I select a metadata field, it'll ask me what I want it to do if multiple matching resources are found. For this one though, I'm going to select Resource ID. The next page shows the column header from your spreadsheet on the left, the metadata fields in the middle, and the values on the right. You'll notice that I can choose the field I want to update for each column heading, although these will usually be in sync if you've used a CSV export from ResourceSpace itself. I can select Do Not Use for any fields I don't want to update. Once I'm happy, I can click Next. The log on the next page will give a summary of the proposed actions and any issues there may be, like missing values in a required field or a value in a fixed list field that doesn't match any of the values in the system, for example. This one looks good, so I can just click Process. The next screen shows the actions taken and at the bottom confirms the data has been processed successfully, and I can see the values in the campaign field for my selected resources have been updated. This was a very simple example, but you can do as many fields and as many resources as you like at the same time. Those are the most significant changes in 9.3, but we have introduced several smaller changes that I'll cover now. The Google Vision API only returns English keywords. However, the separate translation API can now be used to translate these to other languages. In the options for the Google Vision API plugin, you just need to enter a valid Google API key from the Translation API here. Enter your language codes here and decide whether or not you want to keep the English keywords as well. Then click Save. Here's an example to show you what it will look like. You can find full instructions on our knowledge base. Just search for Google Vision API. You can now use the advanced search to search according to the access setting for resources here. This is for administrators and can be very useful for restricting or hiding certain resources from particular user groups. Workflow actions now appear in the Actions drop-down in the Collections bar here, so you can move resources through different workflow states more easily. For broad searches, the system will now display breadcrumbs here to give you some context. I can search for specific resource types and they're displayed, or I can click on Recent or View a Collection. The last change I want to cover is useful for when you have a metadata field that's likely to contain a large amount of text. Up until now, this would, by default, appear as a column of text like this. Previously, this could be changed by using a display template, but we've made it much easier now. I can go into the management page for that particular metadata field and select Display Full Width on View Page. Then just scroll to the bottom and click Save. You can see that data is now displayed much more effectively on the resource here. That's all I'm going to cover in this video, but there are a lot more improvements in 9.3 I haven't gone through. You can get more details about these by visiting our website, ResourceSpace.com, and clicking on Resources and Versions. If you have any questions or need any help, just let us know. Thanks for watching.